The wrestling world is still buzzing from that classic mask versus mask match between El Grande Americano and the original El Grande Americano at AAA's Noche de los Grandes events. And I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. I don't speak Spanish, so I did my best to pronounce it. And it wasn't just that they had a great match, which they did. The whole presentation was tremendous. It started off with the video package, the entrances, the ring introductions, the match itself, then the post match, and we all know what happened in the post match, the unmasking, how it ended. It was one of the best things I've seen WWE produce in a long time. And this was easily the best WWE match of the year. I know it's not the main roster, it doesn't really count in that regards. But when you look at all WWE's properties from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AAA, which they own, this was easily the best thing I've seen. The match was the best match, and everything surrounding the match was tremendous. It blew away anything WWE did at WrestleMania or any other big show, and better than anything NXT has done too. It was spectacular. I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, it's my favorite match of the year, and it probably might end up being the best match of the year. That's how good it was. So I think what really sticks out to me, and it's wrestling is at its best, and this proves it. This whole match and the whole presentation of this, wrestling's at its best when it's organic. And this whole thing was organic. And it was never supposed to be like this. I don't think Chad Gable being El Grande Americano was supposed to be this long-term thing. It was just more of a comedy gimmick when he first did it, because he kept losing to luchadors, particularly Penta. And he went to Mexico, learned lucha libre. Now he pretends to be this, I don't know, this 100-year-old luchador who's this great American, and he pretends that he's, I don't know if he says that he's Mexican or he's American. It's just weird. It's like this comedy gimmick. A lot of people in AAA, a lot of the fans watched it. They kind of laughed at it. But then Gable gets hurt, and then Ludwig Kaiser takes on the mantle, and he makes it his own. And his is a lot more or less, Gable being a comedy act, his is more talking directly to the fans in Mexico because he's able to speak fluent Spanish. So he was able to communicate with them better, and he was not there to mock them or anything. They all know it's Ludwig Kaiser. They all know Marcel Bartel is the guy who's playing this whole gimmick. He's not from Mexico. He's German. His father, if you don't know, Kaiser's father was this great German wrestler. I think he controlled much of the wrestling in Germany for many years. He was a key figurehead. So him going there, what made him special, what made him stick out was his ability to speak fluent Spanish. In Germany, they teach multiple different languages, so he can, obviously Kaiser, he could speak fluent German, he can speak fluent English, we've heard him talk. He probably can speak fluent French, and he certainly can speak fluent Spanish. And he was able to communicate to them, and it just got over, and he had the girlfriend there, Andrea, and she is really beautiful, and they became this couple, and the fans just gravitated to him organically. And then when Kaiser, as he continued to get over in Mexico, then Gable comes back, and now he's becoming heel. He's jealous now. It's like the things people thought about him at first, where he started off as a comedy act. Now it's becoming the kind of the negative stereotype people associated with the Gable Americano at first, where he's pissed off and he's angry at the Mexican fans because they're choosing the Kaiser Americano over him. And it really worked. It was organic, and it because it was organic, that's why it got over to the extent that it did. We don't usually see things in wrestling become organic because everything is so contrived nowadays. Everything's so overly scripted. The matches are so produced. It's hard to have something as organic as this get over, and that's what I think really has made it stand out. And I think both guys have come out better because of it. I think Ludwig Kaiser has a gimmick now he can stay with for the rest of his career. He's no longer Ludwig Kaiser. He's El Grande Americano. And Chad Gable is now more over than I think he's been ever. And even a couple years ago, when he was challenging Gunther, ironically, the guy Kaiser was with for his entire career, basically, he was managing. That's who Gable, when he was most over, it's ironic. First it's Gunther, now it's against Kaiser. Those are the two his two great rivals, um, Chad Gable. But uh, uh, when Gable lost to Gunther and they didn't give him a rematch, that's when he was the most over. And people are pissed off Sammy got the match at WrestleMania 40 over him. But this, I think, has come out of it more over than ever because of the way at the end he was so humble. He took the mask off and the fans embraced him, and it was a great moment. But I really think coming out of this, it's helped both guys so much because it's just been, I keep saying it's been organic. That's what made this thing stand out. But I want to talk about the presentation now. So it started off, there was a long video package. It was really well produced and put together. And then they both had mariachi bands perform before both their entrances. First, the original came out to booze. Then the new Americano was super over, as you'd expect. And it's crazy how this worked out. Just the whole thing. It was lightning in a bottle. It's what it really felt like. The match began. The Gable Americano attacked the Americano, hit him in the head with a guitar, bashed him really hard. And you had Rey Mysterio, Corey Graves, and JBL on commentary, by the way. And that was the one thing I didn't really like. That wasn't very good commentary, but the match was tremendous. The story early on was both guys tearing at each other's masks, and it became particularly distracting in a match because it would happen when the mask would, after it would happen, the mask would slip off because of the sweat and then later the blood. And like you can see both their faces. You can see Ludwig Kaiser's face and his hair. Then you can really see all of Chad Gable's hair. And you can see his face. I think that was just a little bit distracting for me. I don't mind that they did some of the rips. I just think they did it too much. And the longer the match went on with all the blood and sweat and tears maybe, it slipped off and it became distracting. But once they got past that, I think the blood in the match, the con was you would see their faces kind of, but the pro was you can bleed. And it's hard to bleed when you have the full mask on. And the blood in this, it added so much. I mean, Gable was bleeding like crazy. And it was one of the bloodier WWE matches I've seen. Probably the only thing I can think of is that Punk drew Hell in a Cell from a year and a half ago or something. That was as bloody as this. Gable in particular, he was bleeding pretty bad. The match had a lot of weapons, and I think that helped it. And it didn't feel like, to me, with the weapons, it didn't feel like, the traditional WWE plunder match. You just throw a million chairs in the ring, tables, and they don't use most of it, and they just wait till the end. Here, they felt like they used everything. They used the steps really well, I thought. There was a tough table spot that looked bad. It looked painful. And they used the chairs, and it felt like they were actually, by the way, the barricade table was broken too. They used everything. It just felt like more like they were using it in a fight rather than just like throwing everything in the ring and waiting till the end to use all the weapons and just the traditional plunder match. And I didn't see many advertisements on the tables this time. Of course, you had the interference with the Creed brothers. They were on the Gable Americano side, but then Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I forget. Bravo. I don't know the other ones. I apologize. Bravo Rayo. I don't know. They fought them off, and there was a big spot where one of them jumped off the stage with a crossbody. And then there was also a comedian. Reportedly, Gable insulted a comedian, and he hit him, and the comedian fought him back, and he was in the front row. And then Kaiser's real life Bartel, his real life girlfriend, Andrea Bazzarte, she played a part. She appeared. The fans loved her. She was the ring announcer, and she got over, and she was a huge part of the match. And Gable was reportedly insulting her. And then there was a female star. I don't know who she is. I don't watch AAA, but she appeared. I think she hit Gable over the head with a guitar later in the match. And the fans, by the way, they were absolutely tremendous in this match. They were essential for this match working, because if this was not in Mexico, if this was anywhere else, if this match was at WrestleMania, which I thought maybe was the plan at first, it would not have worked. It would have had like 6 minutes. No one would have cared. The fans would have been bored, and that would have been it. Here, it worked. And they bled. They had all these great spots. And the crowd was the life of this match. It meant so much to them. They were so emotionally invested. Whenever the fans are really into something, you can't help but watching it on TV get into it as well. And it made it great. It elevated the match, the fans, the reactions. Eventually, El Grande Americano would defeat the OG Americano with the running headbutt. Afterwards, after the match, they acknowledge each other. Chad Gable officially unmasks to reveal his bloody face, and he had his whole family in the ring with him. He explains his reasoning for becoming El Grande Americano. Then he would go on to embrace Mexico. They gave him a standing ovation, and it was a total babyface turn. Then he hands his mask to El Grande Americano, who then celebrates after Gable leaves. There's confetti falling from the ceiling with the mariachi band performing. As AAA's Noche de los Grandes ended, it was a classic. The whole thing was great. Ludwig Kaiser's El Grande Americano, wow. He's become a star. He celebrates. Gable just came off as a total babyface. And it was like at the end of a movie when the villain knows he's wrong and like the hero forgives him instead of like, fighting until the death. Like they embrace and like he understands the errors of his ways, and it was just this great moment. It felt bigger than just the wrestling, and it felt like because the fans were so into it and it got over so organically, and none of this was supposed to happen like this. It made the whole thing just special, because you can't, like, what makes wrestling special is you can't just catch lightning in a bottle every single time. You're not going to catch it in a bottle every month. You might only catch it once every few years, and they did here, and they delivered. It really was just great. I can't say anything else. I don't know what else to say about it. There's a reason why they aired it after Raw on Monday, because it was so well received. And if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Watch the YouTube one, not the one on Netflix, because the one on Netflix, they made it black and white at the end when Gable was giving a speech because he was bleeding. So you might want to watch the one on YouTube where it's so all colored. So that's the one thing I don't like. It's annoying. That's when it happened. I was watching on the Netflix after Raw. I was like, oh God, really? Black and white, whatever. But I just can't say anything else. I not enough good things about this. Everyone's really praising The Undertaker because he's the booker. He definitely had a part, no doubt. He deserves credit. But also Jeremy Borash for his role in AAA. I'm sure he also was essential for this working as well. And both guys just doing great. El Grande Americano being a great babyface and Chad Gable being a great heel. This whole thing was great. AAA's mask versus mask match was tremendous. The whole presentation was great. And it's without question, with all the brands WWE owns this year, this El Grande Americano versus original Grande Americano feud match and payoff was the best thing WWE has produced all year.